Now, as we've been reporting this morning, the Leveson inquiry continues in London and the parents of murdered schoolgirl Milly Dowler have appeared now. Europe correspondent Emma Alberici joins us from London. And Emma, good morning. This is the material that, of course, the British tabloids really won't want to be trawled over again. It's going to be a tough week for them.
Indeed. In fact, today was the first day we heard from victims themselves at this judicial inquiry at the Royal Courts of Justice. And first up, quite poignantly, were Bob and Sally Dowler, the parents of 13-year-old murdered schoolgirl Milly Dowler, who, of course, was missing for quite some time. In fact, her body wasn't found for 6 months. And you can only imagine the trauma and anguish of parents trying to unravel what happened to their daughter, and in those first crucial days thinking that perhaps she'd accessed her voicemail because previously they had tried the phone and the message bank was full, so it was saying that it wasn't possible to connect the call. And then Sally Dowler told the court that she was absolutely buoyed when she did try the number and something else happened. She did get through and heard her daughter's voice. I think we have that excerpt.
No, I'm not quite sure that we have that one ready and standing by, Emma, so we might hear that a little later on. We've heard that earlier in the program. Did we hear anything new from Milly Dowler's parents? Because a great deal of this, of course, has been in the public domain for some time. Now we're seeing their faces and hearing, as you say, their reactions, which are terribly affecting. Is there anything new emerging so far in the inquiry that's going to cause any more discomfort to in particular, the Murdoch-owned tabloids?
Absolutely. We heard more detail because, of course, it's the first time we've heard them speak. They've had lawyers speak on their behalf up until now. And they talked in very emotional terms about an incident whereby in those initial days, Bob and Sally Dowler decided at a very spur-of-the-moment decision to retrace their daughter's steps, where she had gone from the train station, what route she may have taken to go home. They had put posters up around the neighbourhood asking for any information about her whereabouts. And they were absolutely aghast to find out that a photographer from the News of the World had been trailing them that day. They had no idea. Obviously, the photographer had been hiding, and they talked for the first time about that very, very raw sense of an intrusion in privacy, a private moment that the two of them were sharing, and that could only have been discovered from phone hacking because they had left messages for each other, the husband and wife, about going on this, retracing the steps of their daughter.
The difficult thing about all that, of course, was that they spoke about how they were in that double bind of needing the press because they needed publicity in order to try and get the issue out there in order to locate their daughter. But along with that publicity came this extraordinary intrusion. And I guess that's the issue the Leveson inquiry in general is going to have to analyse, isn't it, Emma? That you want a free and fair and tough and involved press, but they have to watch their step. Who's going to be in charge of drawing where that line should be?
And just a small anecdote, Bob Dowler saying that he was trimming his hedge when a reporter popped out and asked him what he thought about the police changing the lead investigator on the case. You know, those sorts of intrusions into their private day-to-day lives, he said, was quite a shock for people who were otherwise ordinary individuals who'd had no experience of this. But Lord Justice Leveson, who is heading this inquiry, it's a judge-based inquiry, so it will have some fairly meaty weight behind it at the end, as far as its recommendations go. But everybody is at pains to say, including the Dowlers, that they respect the fact that Britain, like all other modern democracies, relies on a free press, and they don't want to hobble that. But of course, they also don't want it tipped in the other way. We had one witness today, Joan Smith, whose name is not a household name. She was the girlfriend of a politician here in the UK. She was very eloquent in saying that, you know, right at the moment in countries like Egypt, they are fighting for a free press, and yet here in the UK they've abused that privilege. So we can't go too far one way or the other way. And I think that's the message they all want to give out, that some sort of tighter regulation is needed, but whether that needs to be backed up by legislation is highly contentious here at this inquiry.
Emma Alberici, good to talk to you this morning. Thanks so much.